So we have this thing called the CARE model. Have I shared that with you before? At
with
some
our
point?
listeners.
Well, I'll share with the listeners. So it's visual. So I'll do my best to
I can
explain it.
B-roll this on
Okay.
YouTube.
Okay. Fair
If you
enough.
point here, it will
All right.
appear.
So right about here, as the CARE
Make it
model.
easy on me.
There you go. Right there. So the CARE model it is a way of seeing the organic nature of human behavior. It's not a framework, it's not a template. It is a really powerful insight into why people behave the way they behave. So it's not a pyramid, it's not linear, it's an organic structure, as you can clearly see right here. At the center of that structure is the self, just you. And the first recognition that we touch on as we explain the care model is that you are valuable, full stop. You don't have to do anything to prove it. If you're not good at lacrosse, if you never win a championship, if you don't make the next sale in your company or whatever, nothing can violate that truth. So and that can be one of the most uncomfortable pieces of the whole discussion for people is that you matter and you don't have to win a freaking championship to prove that. So that's big. That's number one. That's at the very core of the model. Just beyond it, sit mindsets and drives.
Hmm.
So I'll do drives first. Drives are maybe obvious, but it's everything physiological. It's nervous system level. It's thirst. It is if I step on a tack, I immediately recoil, and there's not a lot of processing that happens there. So it accounts for a lot of those things. Mindsets is maybe the interesting piece from a coaching perspective, because what you start to find is that the way one thinks about the self exists at the mindset level, not at the self level. So, self esteem, self awareness, self concept. Like you might have a poor self concept. You might not think you're valuable. You're mistaken.
Yeah.
But that came from somewhere, though. That was built. Mindsets and drives. The way we think about the self is not a true indicator of the self. Just beyond that, skills and strategies. So the skills and strategies that we develop over time are in alignment with our mindsets and drives. If it's something as basic as thirst, like you develop skills and strategies that allow you to quench your thirst. This is actual, not just for dramatic.
Storyteller.
There it is. And then beyond that, the outermost layer of this organic structure that is the care model is behavior. And what you start to realize is a couple things become obvious pretty clear. One of them is that our behaviors are more an emergent property of the human organism than we sometimes want to recognize. Like sometimes we don't have as much agency in them as we might think. So that's one piece. The other piece is that there is a very faulty connection between the behavior level and the self level. And that oftentimes I'll meet with someone who wants to talk about improving performance in one way or other. Maybe they want to get better at procrastination or say less when in their public speaking. They have a behavior that they want to change. And what you find very quickly is that they have unfortunately related behavior to self, and that creates the sort of shame that is actually the primary hurdle that they have to get over. So step one is to break that connection and then start to investigate how this amazingly complex human came to be.
Hmm.
And the two side pieces that you can see here, one of them is physical state. So you behave in a different way. If you're on 3 hours of sleep, your skills and strategies might be dulled, your mindset might be slightly shifted, and your behaviors will change similarly. The other piece is history. And the best way to understand, or an easy way to understand how history impacts behavior is if a dog ran up here to us and say one of us went to pet it and one of us hightailed it out of here. If you ran, that might seem like a strange behavior to me. But if I cared enough to understand that at some point in your life, in some point in your history, you'd been bit by a dog, that imprinted on your mindset and drive, develop skills and strategies in accordance to that, and you are behaving in a way that makes complete sense given your own unique history. So that has, for me and for I think many others, created a lot of patience. And a lot of understanding. Now, there are certain behaviors that emerge that you don't want to condone. So it's not to say, like, to understand is not to condone. So you might say, "Hey, Tex keeps yelling at me. I get that it comes from somewhere. And if I care enough about you, we might continue a conversation till we get to a place of shared understanding. But I don't have to accept it. But to understand it is always the best first move. So
And then as a leader, you can help shape it, especially if it's a negative behavior. So now if I have a colleague or a coworker, I'm not just labeling and then
exactly.
writing that off. It's helped me understand. And then,
It,
hey, how about this?
Exactly. It's less that kid's bad than it is that kid made a decision that didn't align with our standards. And since he's under our charge, we might want to take a little time and figure out why. So important, really important, and hard to do, but that's the freaking work that we're trying to do here.
Exactly. So it's not only leading individuals, it's also helping and shaping coaches.
Absolutely.